Okay, so we have a worksheet, there's notes and a homework assignment packet. Let's start. A lot of this is review. I asked you guys to start looking at this, so this first page should go quickly. A linear function is a function whose graph is what? What does it look like? It's a line, it's a straight line. You learned a bunch of different formulas for slope. Can anyone tell, what is slope? It measures the steepness of a line. How steep is it? Okay, so you could have a line that it goes like that, and then you could have a line that goes like this, and this one is steeper, okay? And you could have a line going that way. So slope measures the steepness of the line. And how do you do that? We have a formula. And you guys probably are going to say y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. But is there another formula that you know that we can add to all of our formulas? Anyone know another one? This one? Another one? I heard rise over run. There's more. There's the difference of y. These are all saying the same thing. Over the difference of x. There's more. In this one, when you get to calc, they use this Greek letter delta. That's the change. Change of y over the change of x. You're going to see that when you get to calc. So now, if you have 2 points and they ask you to find the slope, what you can do is check out these 2 points graphed. Let's graph them really quick. How do you graph -3, 7? Well, you start at the origin and you're going to go 3 units to the left, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And -2, 4 is 1, 2, 3 right here. Now if I connect these 2 dots, I have a line. Now to get from one point to the other, we have a rate of change. How are we going from this point to that point? Well, the vertical units, which is the change of y, this is here, this is your y-axis. Your change of y is 3, and then your change of x is 1. But because this line is going down, as we're going to the right, we're falling. Our slope is -3 over 1. So we went down 3 and over 1. The vertical change is 3 units. The horizontal change is 1 unit. And it's a negative slope because it's going down. Now, we don't want you to graph these points to find the slope. We want you to use the formula. So what does the formula look like? It's y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. Or you can use the ones above. Simply, all it is you take your y values and subtract them. I circled the y values for a reason. I'm going to subtract these 2. Now, I don't know about you, but I like to take the bigger number and then subtract the smaller, right? Could I do 4 minus 7? I could. And then in the denominator, I have to do -2 minus -3. So this is what I always do. I circle my 2 y values. And then that's the order that I'm going to subtract. The y is the boss to me. So what's first? I'm going to do 7 minus 4. I'm going to do 7 minus 4, and then that means I have to start with this x value, -3 minus -2. So what is the numerator? 3. What is the denominator? -1. Does that match? Sure does. Let's do the next one. What's b? Circle my y's. If you subtract those 2, what do you get? 0. Yep, you're right. Look. It's the second time I did that. 1 minus 1 is 0. It really doesn't even matter what the bottom is, because 0 in the numerator, you've got 3 minus negative 4, which is 0 over 7. What's my final answer? 0. 0 in the numerator is okay. But what happens when you get a 0 in the denominator? Undefined, yep. So here's your y values, negative 3 minus 1 over 7 minus 7. You get negative 4 over 0. This is undefined. Is this coming back to you guys?
Yes.
Good. Next. The slope-intercept form of a line is, you remember what it is? Slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. What do you notice about this? Is the m is the and the b value is the y-intercept. So here's two examples. If I give you that the slope is 1/5 and the b value is, that's your b value. When x is 0, that's going to be your y-intercept. So think about it. Here's your graph. Where is 0, negative 3? It's right there. There's your y-intercept, negative 3. How do you put these two together to create an equation in slope-intercept form? Anyone know what it is? Y equals 1/5 x minus 3. You know that? Okay, then on B, I give you a graph. Can you write the equation? I need M and I need B. Here's B. This is B. What is B numerically? 3. 3. B is 3. Huh? This is negative 3? Here's your x-axis. You think that's negative 3? Oh, no, these are two separate problems.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
What?
No, I moved on to the next problem. I'm sorry. That is confusing. B is this point right here. This is a different problem, B. I need the slope of this line. What is the slope of this line? How do you go from one point to the next? Anyone know? Rise over 1. What's the rise and what's the run? It's a 2 and a 1. Is it a positive 2 or a negative 2?
Negative 2.
Good job. So what's your equation? This is the recipe that we use. So I need M and I need B. Do I have M and B?
Yeah.
Where do they go? That's it. Remember this stuff? Okay, good. Moving along. Number 3, it says write the equation in slope-intercept form. Well, what does slope-intercept form look like? It looks like y is by itself. Is y by itself here? No. So how do we get y by itself? Subtract 5x. And then do what? And then clean it up. Tell me what the slope is. 5 over 4, I heard. And what's the y-intercept? Negative 4. Beautiful. Okay, letter B gets a little crazy. Let's first position our terms in the right place. So what's in the wrong place is this right here. How do we get this negative 3/4 over to the other side? All I did was move negative 3/4 over to the right side, change the sign of it. Very good. Now look at the y value, that's the boss. How do we get y with a 1 in front of it? We have to multiply this by 2, then this by 2, and this by 2. So you get 1y is equal to, 2 goes into 4 2 times, so it's 3/2 x minus 2. So what's your slope? And what's your y-intercept? -2. Okay? Next. Now, we're going to use the slope and the y-intercept to graph these equations. For 2a, how do we graph this if it's not in slope-intercept form? What should we do with your equation? Put it in slope-intercept form, quickly. How do you get this in slope-intercept form? What's your b value? 1. So that's where you begin. You put a dot at 1. And now your slope is -2 over 1. So it's a rise of 2 units and a run of 1. Down 2 and over 1. You guys remember doing this? M is, it's a -2 and a 1, and it's going 2 up. These are all 2s. This is 2, this is 2, this is 2, this is 2, and this is 2. And 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Try the next one. And obviously connect the dots. Okay, this one needs some work. We can do it. I'm going to bring 3x to the other side. And I'm going to divide everything by -4. And that's what you get. What do you need to do?
Sharpen my pencil.
So go ahead and graph that one. And did you begin at -2 on the y-axis? And you're going to go up 3. It's a vertical change of 3 units, and horizontally 4. Up 3 and over 4. And you could go down 3 and 4 this way. And connect your dots. In a straight line, not crooked. Now, do you remember these special kinds of lines that they only have one variable in them? What do they look like? One's horizontal and one's vertical. Which is which? Horizontal is y. Now think of it this way. If you forget, they're saying y is always -2. So do this. Whoops, -2. And then plug in any number you want if you get stuck, if you forget. So where is 0, -2? Where's 1, -2? Where's 2, -2? Where's 3, -2? 4, -2? Whatever you put in for x, y is going to be -2. Do you see the line forming? It's a horizontal line. That's how I remember it. Well, what if it says x is 3? X is always 3. X is always 3. That's what this is saying. X is always 3. So no matter what you put in for y, doesn't matter. X is 3 is always the x value. So 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 0, 3, -1. Whoops. Nobody said anything. 3. These are not, this is 2. 3. Here is x equals 3. Ignore that. I'll do it again. Here is the line x equals 3. Right there. Okay? Now, do you remember this formula, point slope?
Yes.
Okay, if you are given a point, and the point shows up as the x1 and the y1, and the slope, you use this formula. You do not put the x and the y in the first spot. So watch this. Easy. Write an equation in point slope form. So if it's in point slope form, all I have to do is plug this stuff in where it goes and leave it. It's only when it says slope-intercept form do I have to do the math to it. So let's first start with, here's our slope, goes there. The y value goes here, and the x value goes here. This is why I'm a visual learner. I draw arrows. Does anyone else do that?
I also use two colors, and anything I'm subbing in for, I make a different color.
Are they orange and green?
Actually, right now I'm doing pink and black.
Does anybody, let me ask you this, does it help when I draw arrows?
Yes.
It does? Then you are visual too. You are a visual learner too. You are someone that needs to be shown where these are going. I have to be shown. So because I'm a visual learner, I tend to be a visual teacher. I draw a lot of, so y minus 2 equals 3/5 times x minus a negative 5. This is where people mess up. It's minus, that's the minus, but it's a negative 5, that's the negative 5 that I'm talking about. Now you could think of it as the opposite of the x, which, so that's 2 here, and then the opposite of negative 5. So what's going to happen here? Yeah, you got it. Everybody good? Okay, now we're adding on to our information here.
You don't have to put that one that y equals m plus 2.
Yeah, they want it in point slope.
It says point slope, so this is point slope. Now, I'm gonna say this to you guys. Read the directions. It says, write the equation in point slope form. Now, this question's gonna be on your test, and you know what someone's gonna do? They're gonna distribute, and they're gonna get it in y equals mx plus b form, right? And then I'm gonna have to mark it, even if you did all that work and it's right, I have to mark it wrong. Because the question is, write it in point slope form. That's point slope form. That's like me asking you, what's your favorite color? And you say, I love pizza. I didn't ask you about your favorite food. I asked you about your favorite color. So, okay, you told me something about yourself, which is great, it's true, but you're not answering my question. And you've got to be careful with this stuff. Now this next one asks it, and that's why did you ever notice that? Why are these teachers putting these directions in bold? Because we want to catch your eye. We want you to see what we want. We know that you know this formula better than the other one, but we're asking you, can you write it in the form that we ask? That's what you're being tested on. So for this next one, they give you 2 ordered pairs. Well, what can we do with 2 ordered pairs? What are 2 ordered pairs going to give us? A slope. Let's do that. How do you find the slope? Here, I'm going to subtract these 2. I'm going to circle these 2. Now, how do I find the difference of them? Do I do 2 minus 8? I would do 8 minus 2. And then that would mean I'd have to do 5 minus 3. So what is 6 over 2? It's 3. Correct? Now, what's the formula I just talked about? It's called point slope. I can pick one of these points, whichever one I prefer, and stick it into that formula, which I like 3 too. Anyone else? So this 3 goes here, and I could use this point or I could use this one, it doesn't matter. The 2 is gonna go here for y, and the 3 is gonna go in for x. So I have y minus 2 equals 3 times x minus 3. Now I go back and I read the directions. It says, okay, now I want it in slope-intercept form. What does slope-intercept form look like? Y is by itself. So I have to first do some, what do I do to this? 3, yep. And then what? Add 2. Right? And here are some instructions for you if you want to follow that. Next. Do you guys recall what standard form looks like? I think of standard form as a formal, it's a dressed up equation. It has capital letters. There's no fractions, there's no decimals, and x comes first, and then y, and then equals, and then your constant. So, what we have to do is we have to get this with no fractions, no decimals, and relocate x. So I like to get rid of the fractions or decimals first. What's the fraction in this problem? The 4. So I want to eliminate this 4. What would I multiply everything by to get rid of this 4? 4. I'm going to multiply this by 4, this by 4, and this by 4. So you get, tell me if you agree, 4y equals 3x minus 20. All I did was I multiplied each term throughout the whole problem by 4. Is everybody with me? Now, in standard form, location matters. What's in the wrong spot? This. This has got to be moved over, move it all the way over in front. How do we take 3x and bring it in front?
Negative 3x
Mhm.
plus 4.
In mathematics, it's not proper to start an equation off with a negative. You don't want to start, we prefer positive numbers, right? Like you want someone to say, have a great day, right? You don't want somebody to say, have a crummy day. That's negative, right? Have a great day. So we want to start with, we want 3 to be a positive number. How can we make 3 a positive number? Multiply it by what? -1. But is it fair to do that and then not to do it throughout the whole problem? No. So what you can do is you can change all the signs when this happens, change them all, make this a -4x, and make this the opposite, make this a +20. So what I did was I changed all the signs, reversed them. If they were positive, made them negative. That way my starting sentence, my starting term is not a negative. Easy?
Peasy.
Easy peasy. What's the next one? Decimals. How do you get rid of decimals?
Least common denominator, or, least common factor.
Look at, count the decimals that are bugging you in this problem. There's two terms that have decimals, but how many places do we need to move them over to get rid of all the decimals? 1. So if you have to move the decimal 1 place over, that's the equivalent of multiplying it by 10. If you had to move, let's say this was y equals 5.49. Now, we'd have to go 2 places over, so that's like multiplying by 100. Yes. Move it down?
Yeah, because of the camera.
Oh, you can't see it?
Now you can.
Now you can. Okay. So this problem, what are we going to multiply this whole thing by? By 10. Yes.
Could you do it by 5 because that would turn both of those into whole numbers?
Wow, that's really, yeah. I mean, you
That's what I
could, you could, but they're not always going to be like that. they're not always gonna be that easy to see, but that's good. Just do 10, 100, 1,000. By multiplying this whole thing by 10, do you know what you get for a new equation? You get 10x, I'm 10y, sorry, equals 54x minus 28. All I did was multiply each term by 10.
You have to do that? You don't want a decimal or what?
No, standard form is no decimal. Okay, now what's wrong with this? 54 is in the wrong spot. So move it over across the equal to sign. And then what's wrong with this?
So
Uh,
negative.
Did I do it right? Now read this box. Remember, standard form can have no fractions or decimals.
Go back to that.
Yes.
Why are we putting the x on the same side of y?
That's not
You
what
don't
this
It's,
is.
That's what
it's
standard
all,
form
this is
is.
standard form.
So what is that?
Can you,
So-
could you do that? It's how else you go like that.
Yes, you could do it the other way also. You could move 5x to the other side first if you'd like. You could bring this over and make it negative 5.4x and then plus y equals negative 2.8. And then you can move your decimal over one place if you want, and then, or you can, you could first, some people will change the sign first. They'll go 5.4x minus y equals 2.8, and then move it over one. So 54x, make this a negative 10y, and then make this a 28. Any way you go about, it's gonna be fine.
So because I did it by 5, I have half of what you had,
Yeah,
which you still accept. right?
yeah, I would accept it. Yep. Now, I want you to flip to this, the back page. I'm doing this in a different order. What's the purpose for this standard form? Standard form,
Find the intercept.
yes, exactly. It's a good form when they ask you, do you guys remember what x-intercept and y-intercept? What is the y-intercept? And what do you notice about, that's good. The y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. And every y-intercept, I'm gonna draw a bunch of y-intercepts for you. Here's a y-intercept right here. Here's a y-intercept. 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 What do you notice about all these y-intercepts? Let's write these ordered pairs down. This is 0, negative 3. This is 0, 1. This is 0, 2.
To 0.
0, 3, 0, 5, 0, 7, 0, 0, do you hear me say 0 a lot?
The x has to be a
Are you
0.
sick of it? Okay, so the y-intercept is when x is 0. And y, you're gonna solve it for y. And what do you think's gonna happen if I ask you for the x-intercept? Here's an x-intercept, here's an x-intercept, 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 x-intercept.
X and 0.
So x, no, not x. This is 2, 0. This is 3, 0, 4, 0, 5, 0, 6, 0, 7, 0, negative 5, 0. What's 0? When you're finding the x-intercept, what's 0? The y value, okay? So now watch how easy this
You
is.
just don't put
I
that
give
one
you
on.
this, I do this little thing, make a T-chart. And it reminds me of tic-tac-toe. You guys play tic-tac-toe? Now, what does this mean? If I put a 0 in for x, what's 3 times 0? Is it
Cover it
okay to just put my finger over it and pretend like it's not there?
Yes.
Yeah. What's y then, if I solve this little equation for
Negative
y?
6.
Good, very easy, right?
Yep.
So where is 0, -6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's your y-intercept. Now do the same thing over here. Put your finger over this y value, because
Eight.
-4 times, that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right at the end. And connect your dots.
I'm confused.
You could go through and
You
remove
just-
all the
you
rows
should
and then
cover it
shorten
up. Like, if you're looking for the y, you're gonna cover up the x, just, you're not looking for that, and then you're just gonna solve it.
You're replacing, I'll go back again. When you plug a 0 in for x, if I put 0 here, what's 3 times 0? Nothing. So that's what you have. You have -4y equals 24. Divide by -4 and you get y is -6.
Okay.
And then go back to 3x, I'm gonna rewrite it again. Now when I do this point, I'm saying let y be 0, so cross it out. And then what's 3x equals 24? How do you solve for x? And you get 8, so that's what that is. They want you to do this. They don't want, it says graph this by using the x and y intercepts. They're not asking you to write this in slope-intercept form. So they're asking you to do it this way. I'm not making this stuff up. Okay, I'm not saying, making you do this like it's a trick or anything, but this is the beauty of standard form. Standard form is you can come up with 2 points quickly by putting your finger over x. You guys are all professional at solving one-step equations, and that's what you're gonna have here. Watch this one, we'll do this one quick. If I put a 0 here, that means, what's that? What's y?
2.
2, very easy. 0, 2, done. Now I'm gonna put a 0 in for y, cover it up. What's x? You have 6x equals 18, so 3, done. So let's say I gave you 2x minus 6y equals 12. Make a t-chart. If I put a 0 in, what would you have for y? What do I have here?
-2.
And then if I did that, what would I have? X is 6. Miss Audia? Sure, Hope? There you go. Okay, thanks, bye. We're leaving. Okay, so is everybody okay with this X and Y intercept stuff? How do you do what? I'm going over it. I'm going over it. Okay, I skipped for a reason, because it flowed better.
Oh.
Okay, now, I'm on the back side. All right, we have parallel and perpendicular lines. Do you guys recall from last year, what are the characteristics of parallel lines?
Slope's the same, but perpendicular.
It's the inverse, it's the reciprocal, you flip it and the sign changes. Okay? Does everyone understand that? That should be something that you learned last year a lot in geometry. So now, take a look, we're on the back side, number 8. They give you an equation here. And they're saying, if we took this equation, this line, what would the slope have to be if we were to construct a line that's parallel to this line? So what would we do to this line? Find the slope of what? This line, because guess what? Our new line will have the same slope. So how do you find the slope of this line? Find the slope. Yeah, put it in, that would probably be the easiest way. So what should you do with 6x? Subtract it. And then do what? What is the slope of this line? 3. It's 3. I don't care about the y-intercept. You want to write it, that's fine. My question is, what would a slope have to be if it's parallel to this line? What would you say is the answer? 3. Well, what if it said perpendicular to that line? What would you do to that slope?
-1/3.
-1/3. You flip it and not make it negative, because if it's negative,
You make it.
what if I gave you a slope is 2/3, -2/3? What would one be perpendicular to this?
+3.
+3/2. Now, how can you check to see if they're perpendicular? If you can multiply them and get -1, then they're perpendicular. That's another characteristic. Okay, so now, we're gonna actually create, this is probably the hardest thing for you guys struggle with this, is I want you now to write an actual equation. So they're giving you the information that it's parallel to this line. So what do I need to get pull out of this?
The slope.
I need M. What is M? So how do you find M? How do you find M? What am I doing? What did I do? I went from here to here. What
So
did I
it's
do?
a standard formula, you're gonna put it into slope
Good.
or something.
I'll make sure you guys are understanding what I'm doing. So what is the slope of this line right now? Right now, it's -2. What's the slope gonna be in my answer? -2, because it's parallel, it's -2. So this is what I do. I write y minus y1 equals m times x. I always start with this. So I'm gonna plug this slope in, I just found, -2. And the point that this new line has to contain it. We have to stick 4 -2 in this equation. So I get y plus 2 equals -2 times x minus 4. Now, I'm gonna stop there for a second and make sure everybody understood what I just did. I plugged 4 in here, into this, and -2 in here, and m in here. Think of this as a recipe. Follow the recipe. These are the instructions. Now go back and read the problem. How do they want us to answer it in?
Slope and reciprocal.
So what do I need to do now?
You need to distribute.
Distribute. So what is gonna happen here? You get y plus 2 equals -2x plus 8. And then what?
Subtract 2.
And then subtract 2. And that is the grand finale answer. Now check this out. Are the slopes the same? They are. They are the same, so you just wanna make sure. Now what's different about letter B is they want perpendicular to this line. And it's ready to go for us. What is the slope of this line right now? Right now, it's -4, but this means something to me. What's my slope gonna really be when I'm done?
1/4.
It's a positive 1/4. Everybody get that?
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna use my recipe, this is my recipe. I'm gonna plug 8 goes in that spot, 5 goes in that spot, and 1/4 goes in that spot. So I've got y minus 5 equals 1/4 times x minus 8. Is everybody with me so far? Now this problem has a twist to it, in that in order to write this in slope-intercept form, I've got a fraction. I don't like this 4 here. Can I get rid of this 4? The easiest way for me, you could distribute this. You could say 1/4 x. How many would rather just distribute? Okay, let's do that. I'm gonna do it that way, and then for any of you wanna see another way, I'll show it to you. 1/4 times -8 is -2. The reason why I don't like this way is because a lot of you guys are bad with fractions. This one came out good. 1/4 times -8 is -2, that's good. Now get rid of this -5. Add 5. We're gonna add 5 here, we're gonna add 5 here. You don't like this way? Okay, now, what could you have done differently?
Multiply it all.
You could have multiplied it by 4. Watch this. So I'm gonna go back to this spot right here. You have y minus 5. Now, if you don't like fractions, how can we get rid of this 4? So if I multiply this by 4, multiply this by 4, that's gonna get rid of those, but I just have to multiply this by 4 and this by 4. So you get 4y minus 20 equals, and then you have 1x minus 8. And now add 20. Now, some of you may not think this is easier, but it is sometimes. And then plus 12. Oops, I forgot my x. And then divide by 4. And you get y equals 1/4 x plus 3. It helps when, this way helps depending on this number and when you multiply. Sometimes you might have something like this, watch. Watch that. Now, if you're gonna wanna distribute, go ahead. You're gonna get 2/3 x minus 14/3. Now you have to add 5 to this, so you gotta get a common denominator and do it that way. You get that? Now if you do it my way, watch this. Here's my way. I would get rid of this 3. I would do 3, 3, and 3. So you have 3y minus 15 equals, now these cancel, so you have 2x minus 14. I can do this problem, I have to deal with fractions now. Add 15. So 3y equals 2x plus 1, and then divide by 3. So there's pros and cons. 2/3 x plus 1/3. If you're good at getting, common denominators, sometimes that's what ends up happening. In your Algebra 2 college prep, you're gonna be faced with these kinds of problems. There's no more all whole numbers or integers. You're gonna get fractions that are your slopes, and you have to be able to distribute that. So are you guys okay with this? Your homework is that last worksheet. So you have like 10 minutes.
Wait, what is this?
Last worksheet.
Huh? The last.
No, it's like the middle.
Last page of your packet.
It's like the wire and stuff and the math.
Oh, we did this. 0y, x 0. Okay, is everyone good?
Yeah.
Okay, good.